you said you don't put sex in your young adult books, but you put a lot of difficult subjects. I mean, there's a lot about race. There's a lot about
Race isn't difficult.
Well, some responses to race can be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Teenage pregnancy. There's the home
Meth.
situations that are not good. There's child abuse. There's a lot of subjects that are not that might get a bad reaction maybe from teachers and parents in books aimed at that audience, or do they not?
I don't care. I mean, it's interesting because I think my hope is that the young people who need the book find the book. And I think that as adults, we have to be very careful about our own backstory informing us as gatekeepers, and our own discomfort informing us. I mean, when I think about race, I think about, queer identity, I think about teen pregnancy, I think about drug addiction. Like, these are conversations we're having with our young people all the time, or they're having with their friends. So they're not difficult conversations unless they're not being had, because then people don't know how to have them. And I think one great thing that literature does is it allows us to begin the conversation. And that's what's really important to me. And I think, I remember talking to this teacher who was like, well, I teach in an all-white classroom, and so I don't have any of your books in my classroom. And I'm like, God forbid I'm the first Black person your students meet. Like, it's just so crazy, the idea of like, I need a homogenous body of work because I have this, what I think is a homogenous classroom. And I think that it's so important that all of these books be represented, because young people need all of these narratives. And I'm sure my books have, I remember when Judy Blume called me because she was doing an anthology called The Places That I Never Meant to Be, and she had asked me to be in it, and it was an anthology of censored writers. and I'm like, I've never been censored. She's like, oh, yes, you have. and I had no idea, right? Because no one's going to call me and say, hey, Jacqueline, we just censored you in our classroom. Like, we're not inviting you to our school because of your queer content. They're just not going to invite me. So. But had you been pulled from school library or something? I think I had been everything from burned to pulled to bad. I'm sure all kinds of conversations were going on about my work. I do remember from the notebooks of Melanin Sun, I got all of these letters from sixth graders somewhere north of Seattle, and they, it was because there was a piece in Out magazine, and they said that Scholastic was going to publish this book, and it was going to be their first book that dealt with gay content, and so the teachers had all these sixth graders write letters, and then my editor sent them to me, and the Scholastic, I guess, got kind of nervous, and I was like, let's just correct these letters. Because it was like all these typos and like spelling errors. And I'm like, let's teach them to write first.
When in doubt, just edit.
Yeah.
Right?
It's so true. But that was that was the pushback that I bear witness to. But I think a lot of it, I don't know. And fortunately, because librarians have been historically so progressive and thoughtful, and you put a sticker on a book and it does something different for the book. And I have a lot of stickers. So.